Hello, welcome to Making It. Will you please introduce yourself and give us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, my name's Michael Torres. I go by Mike. LA native, stand-up comic. Trying to fucking do something.
Trying to do it, man. What got you into stand-up and how long have you been doing stand-up in LA?
So I first wanted to do stand-up. I think maybe 2-3 years ago. I was working this job, this like warehouse gig, and it was one of those things where I was getting like $30 an hour, like it was like I was making it as like a citizen, you know, like I could have just been doing that for the rest of my life. But growing up, like I was always watching like at least like Comedy Central specials, and just like seeing them on the TV late night, and like I would always like my sisters would like watch like Chappelle Show, so I was just like doing that. And yeah, it wasn't until I was like working this job where like I was like, oh, I could do this for like 20 years and that's it. But I decided, just like I had the itch, I had the itch to like just go out and do it. So I started February 13th, 2021. That was so it's gonna be 2 years. 2 years in actually no, my math's off. It was 2022, I think.
So you start 2022. And you said you had the itch. What was that moment that turned the itch into a scratch? What was that for you? Where it's like, I'm doing this. I'm gonna try this out.
Yeah. So when I started, I think I think I was still trying to go to like my job like in the nights and still like do an open mic, And then I think I remember my first open mic. It was terrible. It was terrible. Like it was like I remember like bombing so hard and like nobody cared. But after, like people came up to me and they were just like, dude, like this is like you're doing like what only so few people could do, and that felt good. And just talking about this, I realized it was 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even this time.
Yeah, so I'll be 2 years in February.
Do you remember where your first open mic was?
Yes, fourth wall in the NoHo in North Hollywood, in that just black box of just like where everybody just hates themselves. Yeah, I decided my first open mic was gonna be there, and
Oh boy.
I have so after the first mic that I did, I remember Joe Manente, the guy that owns it. Like after my set, he said, "Congratulations, Mike Torres, your life is now ruined."
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you feel like your life is ruined?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I feel like, like it has its ups and downs. Like with all things, it has its ups and downs.
No, you can't ever undo your first open mic. It's always there in the back of your history.
Yeah.
So you're a LA native.
Yeah, I am.
What was it like growing up in LA?
At least for me, I grew up in. So I'm from Montebello, and if people don't know that, it's kind of like on the outskirts, outside of East LA. So at least growing up for me, like my parents had like a way harder life than I did. Like they were the ones that were like struggling to make ends meet. They had like had like gangbangers out in like their property, you know, and like they got out, you know, so they got out and they did their best to kind of like give me a good life, you know. So I didn't have to worry too much, you know. But yeah, I didn't have to worry too much, you know. But I think that kind of just like, I don't know, sometimes you do feel that like, oh yeah, like you're in a place of opportunity. And like there's so many people that like want to come out here, you know. So like it definitely is kind of just like it's different, you know. It is different. It like just as being like a transplant is different for other people. It is. I just spit everywhere. But
You're good.
I
Do you
think
think starting LA gave you an advantage or disadvantage?
100% advantage.
How so?
I think well, I think that I'm used to, and like I feel like what a lot of people do say, like when they're out in LA, they're just like, oh, like everything's so far, you know, like everything's kind of just like, you know, it's like this, it's like that. But I don't know, I feel like growing up in LA, I'm used to just like going out to like different places, you know, and like these places that I go to with comedy, like Santa Monica, Hollywood, those are vacations. Those used to be vacations, you know, where we would just go out there like maybe like once, twice a year, you know. But I think, you know, now with stand up, it's just like, oh, okay, I have an excuse to kind of just go out there and just have a fun time, you know. But no, I mean, I always shit on LA, but like I love it.
Oh,
you
we
know?
love it.
Yeah, I love it.
It's terrible, but
Yeah.
it's so awesome.
Yeah. It's crazy how that works, man.
Could you tell us about maybe your best experience in comedy so far and one of your worst experiences in comedy so far?
Ooh, my best experience with comedy. Um, I'll say I don't know. I feel like, you know, there's always like a way to describe it, and like I like looking at the little things sometimes, you know. But at the same time, I think like one of my best experiences with comedy is probably I went to help produce and like do like a spot on my birthday. And I think like I remember getting there and I was telling my buddy, I was like, hey, you know, like it's my birthday. And he looks at me and he goes, and you're setting up chairs right now, you know? And I don't know, and so like I was just like, yeah, like I think I just really just like enjoy, I think I just try to enjoy like all the spots that I'm in, you know. But then like at the same time, you know, there's like you do get terrible situations. You know, I think my worst experience with comedy has been probably just the hours that I could collect just crying. Yeah, just like because like, you know, stuff doesn't go your way, you know, and like you're your own worst critic, you know.
Big time.
And so like I'm very hard on myself, you know, and like I try to be, because I don't know, if you're not gonna push yourself, who is? You know?
How are you hard on yourself? Like maybe in like when you're the hardest on yourself, what does that look like?
Just say that you're not good enough, you know, and that the things,
Repetitive thoughts.
yeah, you know, and just like it's turning into a therapy session, Jesus. But but no, I think you know, I feel like there's always sometimes kind of just like, oh, why me, you know, because like I don't know, sometimes I feel like, you know, just you're not good enough, but I think things get better in time, you know. And that's the thing I feel that I've kind of experienced with stand up, is that, you know, it's like when you're so young and you're just starting out, you know, it's just like there's so many like options and like forks in the road that like that you can go down, and it's just like it can get overwhelming. You know, it can get really overwhelming. You know, and just there's so many like what am I doing? Like that's the big question. Like if you think about doing stand up, you know, I would say like the number one question you always ask yourself is like what am I doing right now? You know? But I think there's a part of us that like that love it, you know? You know, that is kind of just like, oh yeah, like we're being clowns on stage, you know, and like we're just making fools of ourselves, but like it's honestly like we're having a blast, you know.
Do you ever get those positive repeating thoughts, like maybe after a good show, where instead of it being the negative thought where it's like, oh, I'm not good enough, it's, oh man, I'm the shit, this was awesome. Do you ever get that too?
Yeah, sometimes. Well, because
Less often, maybe.
yeah. I mean, more. I mean, it's more. I would say 90-10% negative. Yeah. But no, like, but there are like, and I will say like I will like we talked about Reese, you know, and I've talked with him, and yeah, there are times when, you know, he gave me really good advice. But there are times when you need to be like, hey, I'm the funniest guy in this room, you know, and like there's no one else that's funnier than me, and you know, and then like that's when you go out, and that's when like when you crush, you know, you just destroy a room. You're like, yeah, you do get a feeling of like, oh yeah, you know, like yeah, you know, like I did that, you know, but then like you always gotta. So like one way or another, yeah, it's you're gonna bring yourself back to reality, you know. But so yeah, so I think that's something that I would like to try to do more, is like kind of just like live in the moment and just kind of just like be like, okay, this is what's going on.
So I would say since you came on the scene almost 2 years ago, you've been very active. You've been at a ton of open mics. You've been doing some good shows. Right now, is stand-up the only thing you're working on, or are you thinking about working on anything else? Are you trying to do any auditions, produce shows? And I guess in the essence of what I'm asking is, what are you trying to do next?
Yeah, I think what's next for me is trying to produce, you know, trying to get a show going, because like I've been told that, at least for me, I kind of feel like I give off like old school but new school. Like I've been told like I'm that friend that you had like 10 years or like 20 years ago, you know what I mean? And maybe that's like the best way to describe me, I'm not sure, you know. But like I think like at least for the open mic, you know, community, I want to be able to start one where it's free, you know, free or at least like $2. You
I've
know,
heard that from a lot of people that they want something like that right now.
yeah, you know, and just like not have it be a way, you know, to kind of just like try to like make some money, you know, but like do it for the game, for the love of it, you know, where it's just like it becomes an open mic where it's like, hey, we're comedians and we're trying to do comedy, you know what I mean? Where it's kind of just like I want to be able to kind of just like, excuse me, I want to be able to kind of just like yeah, what a way to burp in front of like I'm giving like the most inspirational speech right now, and I burp. Yeah, that's why I'm never going to be respected. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, as I try to address the nation, I just burp into the microphone. But no, like I do want to be able to kind of just like revive that scene and make it, you know, like dude, like when. Like how we were talking about how it's like, yeah, sometimes you gotta flex. Dude, I wanna flex like LA. You know what I mean? Like, dude, like we're here, like there's so many like undercover like and hidden killers, you know what I mean? And I think to be able to bring all that into one room, you know, like that would be the goal, you know. And yeah, I guess like producing a show as well, and like using, that opportunity with a mic, to like bring people up and like try to get them in front of audiences, and just like all in all, just like the next move is like trying to take a step to where I could do this full time, because at the end of the day, like I would say that's what I want to be. Like I want to be like a professional stand-up comedian.
When it comes to being a professional stand-up comedian, what does that really look like to you? And I guess that kind of gets into the crux of the show. What does making it in entertainment or stand-up look like to you? Like, what is that base level where you need X amount of this for you to consider yourself in the game?
Yeah. So I think making it is, you're doing spots at night, like you're running around town, and just like you're free, It's like you're able to do something that you want to do, and you get paid to do it. Like I like making it for me is like getting paid to do stand up, to tell jokes, and like just being able to like run around, and just kind of just do different spots, and maybe New York. Mm-hmm. I like New York.
Would you move to New York then if you saw opportunity?
I think if I saw opportunity and I got better, because right now I still think that I have still more to go. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think I would like to move over there. That'd be a cool spot.
Wonderful. So while you're trying to make it and while you're trying to work on being the best stand-up you can, how are you supporting yourself right now? What does Mike Torres in the world right now look like?
Oh, right now, baby, it's bleak. Yeah.
Let's talk about how rough it is.
A little rough, yeah. So it's like I said, with the with the advantages of like being here, like and living here, there's also like disadvantages that come with it. Like being able to be like too dependent on on my family at least, and that's I wouldn't like to lie, like yeah, I have had like privilege, and like it's something that I have had in my life, but I also don't try to let it define me, and like right now, like the folks are getting older, like they're still kind of, I'm still trying to do my thing, and so there's kind of just like not too much support there, but they still love me, You should see the inside of my car. That if that's what you want to know how my life's gone. But yeah, just struggling to pay those bills. Recently, pretty much let go of my job. Yeah, so we're still doing it. We're still trying. Mm-hmm. Still trying.
So, not to interject too much, but it sounds like there's some gloom in that. What do you think is scariest about the future in pursuing stand-up? What do you think is the scariest for you in that?
I think the scariest thing is not. It's just coming home and just feeling like you didn't do enough, mm-hmm. And like there's like times of like being like, yeah, there's being too hard on yourself, but I mean at the end of the day, it's just like something like my dad would say. It's like you can't bullshit a bullshitter, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you can't lie to yourself, It's basically what he's saying, And it's not too much doom and gloom. It's not too much doom and gloom. I mean, there's like I like staying positive. I think staying positive is like kind of just like you try to smile. Try to smile just because like because sometimes there is not a lot to smile about. But you can't let that bog you down. You know, you have to keep going. You know, it's like when you're running and you're just exhausted and you're gassed, you know, but you still have like 30 more like yards to go. And like even when you're tired and exhausted, you have to have somebody that's just putting a hand on your back and just keep on pushing forward, you know? So
So I'm thinking, yeah, it is very scary. It is all scary, but you definitely need that hand, and sometimes that hand has to be yourself telling you to move on, to keep going.
yeah.
Do you think there would ever be a motion of events or a point where you would either consider quitting or walking away?
No.
This.
Well, the only way I'd quit is if I died. Or I literally have zero money in the bank. And I think I will say, like, a couple of weeks ago, I had to have like kind of that thought of just like, oh, this is running out. Like the money's running out. You know, like I wouldn't like I especially in like a car necessity in LA, you know, like if you don't have that, it's kind of just like, yeah, you could do like public transit. I know people that do that, and like God bless them. Like I don't know, like they're like those guys are like different animals.
Oh, it totally.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes you only see some of them like once every couple months, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, where have you been? Like still on the train all day.
Yeah. It's gonna take forever to get out.
Like just 3 hours for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I remember when I crashed my car. I was drunk driving, but I crashed my car. I'll flex it. No, I'm not gonna flex it. I'm joking.
Stronger for it?
Yeah. But I crashed my car, and I remember like I had to take public transportation to like get around, and like I was just miserable.
It's so hard in LA.
Yeah,
it's tough in the scheduling and.
Yeah, it's like plan 2 hours ahead, you know, but yeah. So that we got off on a tangent. What were we talking about?
I guess we were talking about. Well, I totally don't even remember.
Yeah, man.
We just kept going.
Yeah, I love that.
I guess like difficulties in
Yeah.
the LA scene.
Oh yeah, and we were talking about taking public transportation. You know.
What would it take to quit? That's right.
What would it take to quit?
What makes you quit?
Yeah. So being dead would make me quit. And yeah, we were talking about running out of money, dude. I had this thing where like the funds were getting low, and like I had to like really talk about and like is this it? You know. And I just remember, like, I probably cried for, like, it felt like an hour, you know, that, like, this is the closest that, like, giving up. This is what it looks like when you give up on your dreams, you know, and it just crushed me, you know. But I will say that I do feel like there is a change, you know. I feel like something will happen. You know, something will happen in the next couple of years that, whether it's going to be a lifestyle change or whatever have you, like, it will be for the better, you know, because I try to really think that, you know, at the end of the light, at the end of the tunnel, there's always that light, you know, and this is really.
Go for it. Yes.
But sometimes that's so corny. But sometimes you are carrying that torch. You know what I mean? Like you find yourself being the light. You know, but it doesn't always look that way. You know, like when the walls are closing in, you're like, what the fuck? You know, you're just
so close.
Yeah. But no, like you know. Things like the universe always often balances itself out. If that's the one thing that I've learned, at least through stand up, the universe always balances itself out. You know.
Man, God bless. Beautiful.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
So you and me are pretty heavily involved in the open mic scene and the indie show scene here in LA. What would you like to see change in the scene right now? How would you curate it to make it better?
Like I said, I think I want to be able to, I want to just be able to have people care, and because a lot of people, I feel like either they don't really, it's not that they don't care about it, but I don't know. I feel like there's a lack of like passion with just like the LA open mic scene, and not the indie, because the indie producers, they're the ones that are trying to get things going. You know what I mean? I like they're the ones that have that like ideology, and like I think what would make it better and what I would like to see is to have people like be proud, and say like, dude, yeah, like I care about this. Like I give a lot of fucks about this, and I just want people to I just want people to care and just not be afraid to say it,
Yeah, definitely. Especially when it's like a lot of people, just kind of walk into a mic and they don't care, and you have like 5 acts that are just like really low energy. But also, I totally get it. Like I've been low energy before. We all have.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, I don't mean it. I don't mean it like that per se. I think I just kind of want people to just kind of just be more like, hey, like, dude, like this is something I care about. And like I don't know. Like I feel like
treating your space.
If you're gonna go at something and gonna go after something, make it funny, and like don't try to just take like pot shots and just like I don't know. I mean I'm garbage too. I'm not gonna be on my yeah. There's tons of fat jokes. I have tons of Mexican jokes, but like I don't know. Just like try to hit it from an angle. You know what I mean? Like try to like that's what I want. Like dating's hard. I know dating is hard. But like I don't know, just like I don't know, man. You're just gonna get me going on this.
Get going, get your juice, man.
Yeah, man. It's just
What's really at the heart of the problem?
Yeah.
Let me tell you what.
Yeah. But no, I think I wanna be the change. I wanna be able to kind of just be like, hey, dude, like I want to be the one to give you a hug and be like, hey, it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. That's all I want. As depressing as I am.
As depressing
as I am,
are.
Yeah, as depressing as we all are, I do actually have a lot of love.
No, I gotta say, like one of my favorite things is just showing up to a mic and
that's the best.
And then you see 10, 20 people you know and love.
Yeah, it's the best.
You're like, oh, tonight's just gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best.
Man, would you maybe expand a little bit more on the love you have for the scene?
Yeah.
Like just like the greatness you see in it?
Yeah. So I think that there's so much potential. I think that there's so much potential in so many people, and I try to kind of just like there's the funniest motherfuckers, that are in LA. There's so many funny people, but because there's so lack of opportunity, it gets unnoticed. But like what people have built over in West Side too, like it gets people like me that have just started to like have access to all you guys, you know, and to everybody else, and to where it's just like, oh yeah, dude, like these are people that have been like that like have the same ideologies, you know, and kind of just like same like I don't know, it's just like it's very fun. And like getting to see everybody is one of the great joys, you know, because like there have been so many times where I've had like bad days. Then you see like a Kobe McKinney, you know what I mean? And you're just like, oh
Shout
man,
out Kobe.
yeah, shout out. Yeah, like you get to see like some of the nicest people, you know, and just like I don't know, it's cool.
Hell yeah, man. Alrighty, we're gonna wrap this up here, but is there anything you'd like to plug? Any final words you have? Any upcoming shows or anything like that you'd like to shout out?
I feel like you're either gonna whoever watches, I feel like you're either gonna hate me or love me. There's no in between. No, I think yeah, I will say, you know, it's just like I always like to show love, you know, at least when I can, you know. But fuck, man, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on this last thing.
It's okay.
Keep going for it. Don't stop. Just keep doing it. You know, just we're all gonna make it.
No
I,
way.
yeah, we're all gonna make it in our own way, and just love yourself, no matter what. No matter what, love yourself.